Okay, hey Jason, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Steve. Happy to be here. Great to see you again. Thanks for your patience. It's been a while.
Yeah. How was your trip to Italy?
Well, I'm not sure when we last talked, but I've probably had two. Did we talk after the wind tunnel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So
last time
yes.
we briefly talked, you were about to go to Italy. I think it was
Okay.
your most recent trip, like maybe a few weeks ago.
That's true. No, it was in late September,
Mhm.
and the trip to Italy was really good. Always a benefit to work so closely with your production partner and the engineering ecosystem that is supporting the mission that is Aptera. And yeah, it's the results will speak from themselves both physically
Mhm.
and in the product. But we are so lucky to be working with such a talented group.
Did you just hang out with CPC or were like some other companies that you were with?
Great question. I was in contact with some of the suppliers, and I mostly spent the time with one of the key engineering houses that is in support of CPC. If you think about CPC as the factory, they have all the knowledge around the press, or they have the presses, they have the knowledge around the tooling, they know how to assemble these things, and then they work with key engineering houses that know how to design. And when I say design, I mean engineering, right?
Okay.
Design engineering for that specific composite process. So the specific company, it's called ETP,
Uh-huh.
and they are located in Torino, which is, as you know, a historic and kind of a long time automotive center. So this trip involved both Torino and Modena, but the the results always speak for themselves in what we accomplish. And
Hmm.
I can tell you that the visit to CPC, even though it's probably my third or fourth visit on behalf of Aptera, we are very lucky to have them as a partner. I saw the space and understand the footprint of how the assembly will take place.
Hmm.
Remember, we're going to receive a kind of semi completed vehicle, and then we're going to do our thing, which is the solar and the batteries and everything that we've developed here in California. So it's a wonderful partnership.
Okay. Do you know if they are going to ship the initial cars by sea or are they going to ship it by air?
I would imagine, I don't know specifically, but it's not economically viable
Uh-huh.
on air.
You're right. I mean,
Um,
it's very expensive, but then sea is
yes.
pretty slow.
Yeah, but you account for that,
Okay.
right? You have basically 14 to 16 days at sea, plus or minus a few days on, customs. So that system is very robust.
Okay. So you
I
think you can get it over here in like 3 weeks?
easily.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking more it might take like 5 or 6 weeks or something.
No. The international shipping, it's a weird dichotomy because you have either things are overnight air or
Hmm.
they're 2 to 3 weeks at sea. There's no real in between time.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Okay, so you wanted to kind of go over my guesstimation of what that air video was and kind of talk about my guesses, right?
I did. I wanted to kind of talk about how right you were on some of the things you pointed out, and then also set the record straight on behalf of Aptera and yourself, or
Uh-huh.
for yourself to say, okay, these things are these things are absolutely this, or they're, oh, you're close, but it's actually that.
Okay. All
And
right.
by the
So,
way, before we start, I just want
uh-huh.
to say, like, now is the right time. We've always put forth like the ideas of these things, but
Hmm.
now we're able to say, okay, this is actually what it is.
Okay.
This is
Like,
the right time to tell that story.
right, because like pretty much everything's finalized at this point. Most bits.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not guessing what's going to be in production now. It's like
No, there's now we're
we
down
know.
to, you have very minor changes that might take place, or specifications, or we can't quite get that color or material, or we can't
Uh-huh.
quite have that. But yeah, we're down to like the last minutia.
Okay. All right, so let's get started with this. All right, so here's you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Uh, okay, so the first thing that's set out to me was this. This looks like a change, right here, the rear light piece. Now, is that a change, or was it like this in the Delta reveal and I just didn't notice it?
It was not like that in the Delta reveal. This is
Okay.
an evolution of what's called the license plate illuminator, or LPI. And we've decided to take a little bit of a turn and make it a little bit more robust. We also have a mission to kind of cost down some things. So we remove the reverse indicator from
Okay.
the license plate illuminator.
Okay.
And we want to be able to have something that is, strongly attached to the body and will not sustain any noticeable damage beyond a certain point. Like
Right.
anything can be damaged, but we want to mitigate that. And we
Okay.
also have to, we have to have a license plate illuminator that passes a certain regulation relative to how much light is upon the plate, how much light cannot be visible, for rearward, or like rear, for who's visible behind you.
Okay.
So this is kind of the final version, and we're executing that detail. There might be some little changes on that, specifically on how it attaches, but that's pretty much where we're ended up. And I'll take the opportunity to say that we've looked at lighting it from both sides, from all sides, from no sides, which I'll let you think about.
From no sides?
Yeah. I'm gonna
You mean like shining, transluminating it or something?
Top,
I don't think that works because the license plates are metal, right?
We've gone through dozens of simulations and things, and really this is the best situation we can have, is to one side. Pardon me, I'm still recovering from the Santa Ana winds and our how that affects everybody, but you have to understand, like, we start with the regulation. What is either the federal regulation or the engineering parameter, and then posit a kind of, hey, what about this design solution? So design in the sense of Aptera is really not about what it looks like, but what it is and how it functions.
Right.
And the LPI is one of those things that, yeah, there's lots of other ways to do it, but for our specific mix of needs and wants and requirements, this is the best solution.
So why did you guys go with this solution rather than, okay, so a lot of people in the comments have saying, like, why don't they get like a little string of LEDs or something like around the thing, and it would be flush against it, it wouldn't stick out? Is it like too much light goes backwards, or?
That's
because I'm sure you guys considered that, right? You guys did consider that, of course. Yes.
Yeah, and the funny thing is with the license plate, you can't have too much light on it. There's a rule that says, it can't be too bright. Okay. Now, as an aftermarket option, you all can do what you want. You could swap out and light it up as bright as you want, but then you'd be responsible for meeting the regulation, not the manufacturer.
I see.
Right. So there's some areas of not gray, but areas of flexibility. But as a company, we have to be responsible to the regulations that are before.
Sure. Now, so why did you not go with that? Was it cost? Was it what was the reason?
It doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't work in what way?
You can't get the light perimeter around it enough, and then spread the light out, and then have it, whether you recess it or whether you try and put it on the, there's some beautiful solutions where the actual bolt that holds on a license plate contains an LED. But we can't modulate that enough because it puts out too much light.
Okay, because most of like car rear has like the thing is recessed a little bit, and there's like a little light that comes in from the top at an angle.
Comes in from the top, comes in from the bottom, or it comes in from both sides. There's a couple of automotive cases where it comes from one side only.
Okay.
We're in different territory with the motorcycle regulations. It's similar to the automotive, but we have to have 6 points on the plate, have a minimum amount of light, but also not to exceed a maximum.
I see.
So it presents a little bit of a physics challenge.
Okay.
But we've solved for that.
Okay. And then before, it used to also be like the backup light. Now, is there no backup light now, or?
There is a backup light, although that's not part of the regulations or requirement set. There is a reverse lamp.
Okay. And where is that?
Y'all saw it, but you didn't pick it out. We'll score that in the review.
Okay, got it. All right, perfect. All right.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So this is where it looks like from this top-down view that the screen is two screens, but from the inside view, it looks like it's one screen.
Um, Pardon
Okay. Oh yeah, no problem.
me. Absolutely. It is, that's a very keen observation again. Technically, it's two screen modules
Okay.
behind a single piece of glass. So it appears as one, but it's two separate monitors. And this was the most effective and available option for us. So it also gives us a clear division between left and right.
Okay. Yes, I see that. Like not a software division.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
That's your
now
ad.
now we're watching ads
Yeah.
on. Okay.
But you were right about the solar sensor.
Okay, you mean this thing right here?
Correct.
Okay, that is a light sensor, right?
It is a light sensor. It's a very low cost available
Uh-huh.
light sensor that says, hey, it's dark, you need to turn your lights on, or hey, we can adjust your screen brightness.
Okay.
You could use, but this is a little bit, we could use the cells as that sensor, as some people have pointed out.
Correct. You saw those comments.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But this is well, we thought of that before the comments, right?
Uh-huh.
That's part of the design process. But it's not, it's much easier to just say, okay, here's the sensor, put it there, it's dedicated to one thing, it does its job, it's robust, it's validated, and just go with that.
Okay. All right. So I talked a lot about these side mirrors.
Right.
By regulation, you have to have like what, 10 square inches or something of side mirror that's reflective.
There's a minimum reflective surface on a motorcycle side or rear facing mirror, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they have to, it has to be a certain curvature, it can't be this, it can't be that. So we've designed a unit that meets that regulation, but also houses our side vision camera system.
Right. And so the side vision camera is inboard. It's like in here.
Correct.
And the reflective part is like right here, correct?
Also, yeah, absolutely.
And so
you got that correct.
My whole thing was it designed in a way that the reflected, like this portion can be removed should the regulations change easily, and then just leave you a little stock right here?
That is the goal, but that is not the current product for launch.
Okay, so the current product for launch, this is one piece.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, so that's okay. I'm going to skip ahead to this part. Let me see what it said here. Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is the part I was like, what is this thing? And I thought maybe it's a light. Some people thought maybe it was like a release mechanism to release the hatch from the inside.
It's neither.
It's neither. Okay. Yeah. What is it?
It's just part of the mechanism, or sorry, it's part of the hatch mechanism.
Okay.
Where the latch goes, but it doesn't serve any, it's not a mechanical function, it's not a illumination function.
Okay.
It's just part of the way the tool and the part was made.
Okay.
Right. So it doesn't really serve any purpose. There's nothing really there.
So like this is the little, so the latching mechanism's got to be at the bottom, because this is like a little loop that the latch goes into.
The latching mechanism is on the tub side.
Correct. So what's this then? Like, why is this here? Is this connected to this?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay. All right. It's just a inert metal piece, huh?
No, it's not metal.
Okay, it's not metal. Okay.
Yeah, it's part of the and sorry for the rendering there. It's part of the the CFSMC
Oh,
hatch.
it's part of this. This and this are one piece.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's just the way that it was made. So then
It has
is
more to do with the solar.
oh, I see. Okay. Like maybe the solar things go through there, the wires.
More or less, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And then okay, this is where we were guessing. Like I thought, so this is the accessory port, is my guess.
Yeah,
And
that's the
this
12 volt.
okay. And I thought this was some kind of loop for like putting like cargo netting or something to retain stuff in the back from sliding around.
No,
Okay, what is that?
that's the cargo light.
Oh, okay, so that's the light.
That's the
Okay.
lamp, but we don't have it illuminated in this animation.
So there's one on the other side too, I imagine.
No, there's only a single one.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
But you'll
that makes
have the
sense.
ability, you'll have the ability to add a kind of accessory that
Uh-huh.
gives you much more, let's say, illuminated cargo
Uh-huh.
than what is delivered. But
Okay.
that's part of the flexibility that we're trying to, that we're in pursuit of and trying to design in. Like, yeah, we want to do all these things, but really we have to focus on the basics
Uh-huh.
and give people the opportunity to add these types of extra accessories that they want.
Okay. Now, I didn't notice it in the review, but not that you bring that up, I wonder, like, is there a dome light in the cockpit on the
In the
ceiling?
cockpit, there is 2 overhead lamps. Yes.
Okay, there are. And so those overhead lamps would also give some illumination to the back as well, because they're all connected.
They would, but not in any magical or any meaningful amount.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a lot. Okay. But this
Right.
makes sense because the wiring to the accessory port is here, so it's very easy to send a wire up to here. So
Correct, and it's close to the base speaker.
uh-huh.
And we had to make the call on, where do you put the accessory? And in the beginning, it's like it's split between it's accessible. It's not all the way at the aft, it's not all the way in the cabin, but this was kind of the best, let's say, neutral position.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay, then let's see. What was I saying
Oh,
about
there's the reverse lamp
right here?
below the camera.
Okay. So people were wondering if that was some kind of ultrasonic proximity sensor.
No, and we went through that exercise for sure. Like, what does it take to put ultrasonic sensors pretty much around the vehicle? And then we pair, that's one end, and then you go all the way to the other end. Like, okay, there's no ultrasonics. There's a ton of ultrasonics. Where do you really, really need them for this?
Okay.
But no, that is not an ultrasonic sensor. That is a very simple reverse indicator, which we're not required to do by law, but it's definitely something that Aptera needs to do and should do to inform the environment, like, hey, this vehicle is in reverse.
Right. And also, would this give enough illumination for this camera to work at night to like make sure you don't like bump into something?
Great question, but there's 2 parts to that. One is reverse indicators do not illuminate for you to see.
I see.
They really never have.
So it's not really illumination light, because
No.
some cars, when you put it in reverse, the light, it does like shine a light back there enough so the rear camera can see.
Okay, but that's the camera doing the heavy lifting.
Okay.
And we're at a point where the camera, regardless of the lighting condition, the camera compensates for all of the conditions, and it gives you a good or a reasonable amount of light and a reasonable picture on your screen to safely, reverse.
Okay. So the camera system in the Aptera should be able to give you enough vision so you don't hit like a wall or a tree or something when you're backing up at night.
Correct. And not only that, it'll have the guidelines like other reverse systems. And for sure, when the reverse lamp is on, it does not diminish the performance of the camera.
Okay.
We tested for that in the same way we've done that for the auxiliary brake lamp. In the center on the top of the vehicle. When the brake lamps are on, it does not diminish the performance of the rear vision camera.
Got it. All right. So here we go. Now we're gonna.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Another ad.
So many ads. Okay, so we're gonna go into the interior of it, which I think
Yep.
I can't remember if these were different from the Delta reveals, but it really looks great, I have to say.
Well, let me take the time while we're watching this ad that we have a kind of, how should I say, like push and pull. Like
uh,
some of the stuff that we reveal is purely like, okay, this is what we want to do.
uh-huh,
This is a case where, no, this is what we're doing. These files, all the animation files are coming directly from the CAD engineering files that have either been released to the supplier
uh-huh.
or have been deemed to be, okay, this is design and production intent, so it's given a part number and released.
Okay.
That's the level of fidelity we're talking about. So that door latch hook,
Uh-huh.
that's the exact
This
CAD that
one.
we're purchasing. Exactly.
Yeah.
We in the design process involves, like, first you have to speculate what it's going to be, then you
Mhm.
have to engineer for it, then you have to go through that process of the actual engineering and sourcing. And
Mhm.
once you get to that, then it comes back around to, okay, give me the final CAD file that
Mhm.
you're either making the tool from or the supplier's giving you, and we'll
Right.
put that in our model, what
Right.
we call the design master model.
Uh-huh.
So that's what most of this model is based around that.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. I'm
Sure.
guessing things like this are kind of commodity parts. Like you're not having this like custom made for the Aptera. You're like, there's plenty of these like door latches out there, and you're like, this is the one that's very close to the thing that we want, and then we're gonna kind of redesign around it to like make sure it works. Is that how it works?
Correct. And
Okay.
same with the latch mechanism, which lives inside the body right there.
Right
Yep.
there. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So going in here. Okay, so yeah, I was talking about this, and let me see, here we go. Yeah, so that was one of the things I really asked for, is like, hey, will this fit like really large water bottles? Because my family loves the giant water bottles, and they don't
Sure.
fit in like normal car things anymore. And then is there something underneath here, or is this just covering up some stuff? Like, is this
Uh,
storage underneath here, or is it just
Great
covering up
guess. Yes,
some stuff?
that is accessible storage.
Oh,
Underneath
that is
where
storage.
you
Okay.
would put your phone, that is one kind of covered storage area. Yeah.
Okay, because the phone is sitting on top of it, and I'm guessing that's where you rest your phone, but there's also something inside here.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm talking about, oh, and then yeah, you can see the little lights, the park reverse drive, those remain intact as kind of a backup physical button thing, right?
Correct. That's all our auxiliary drive mode select.
Okay. And this is everyone's guessing this is windshield wiper fluid.
Yes, and everyone, including yourself, is correct.
Okay. All right. And then the other thing I was wondering is this little side vent. So these are the side vents usually to blow air to the window defroster thing. But in the render, I couldn't tell where the output is on the door.
It
But
doesn't actually connect. This is one thing you said, oh,
okay,
it connects through the door. It's designed to blow directly on the side window where you need it most, which
okay,
is to have visibility to the mirrors,
okay.
right?
I
So
see. So
imagine
this is a vent that just blows straight onto the window.
correct.
Okay, so
It
now
is
that
a
I look at
side
it,
defrost vent.
right. So it's gonna blow air like right into here.
Yep.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And oh, someone asked about windshield wiper controls.
Yeah.
I looked at the stock pretty carefully, and it did not look like it's on the stock. Is it
The wiper, like the aim is to have a kind of emergency. I need to wipe right now
uh-huh?
on the end of the stalk. But
Okay.
the main control for the wiper would be on the center display.
Okay. So there is an access to like force it to wipe once or twice
Yes,
on the end. Is it the button? Or do you know how it works?
I'm pretty sure it's the end of the stalk,
Okay.
but I don't want to get too far ahead because
Okay. All right. And
we'll leave it at
then
that. Yeah.
okay. And then, okay, obviously, this is something that Chris McCannon told us about, that
Mhm.
the rear camera system here is now going to be integrated into Headliner. And this is made so that you can easily swap it out with like a comma AI system when it becomes available or something like that. And obviously, it doesn't have to be on a stock because you don't have to adjust it because it's not a mirror, it's a screen.
Correct.
Um, okay, I guess these are the dome lights that you're talking about right here, these overhead lights.
Yeah,
This
we
is
have two dome lights.
uh-huh.
We used to call them map lights, but we don't have that function anymore, that need for
Sure.
that. So we could go back to just, ambient lights or reading lights.
Right.
There's also a physical button that is required for the hazards.
Okay. Okay.
So along with the auxiliary drive select, you'll have a physical button outside of the center screen that allows you to, control your hazard lamps.
Mm-hmm. Now the sun visor, it
Mhm.
looks like a dark material. Now, is that because it's a mesh and you can kind of see through it, or
Correct.
it is? Okay, so that is a mesh system. All right.
Yeah, so it's a single pivot. We're looking for a lightweight frame and then the mesh, which allows, or which gives the kind of um, sun sun blocking that you want,
Uh-huh.
um, and then be able to fold out of the way when you don't need it.
Okay, and it doesn't swing out to the side because it doesn't.
No,
Looking at the mechanism, it doesn't look like it would swing.
no, it
Okay.
doesn't.
Okay. All right. Then I'm gonna go switch over to the, okay, now we're going to the UI
I'm going to
system.
skip over the auxiliary door releases that
I
many
know
have
I
released
missed that.
on.
Yeah, I missed that.
You did miss
I
it.
think people mentioned. I still don't see it. Where is it?
They're the orange handle down near the
This
kind
thing
of
right
where your
here?
ankle would be. Yes,
Okay, so this is it.
yes.
Let me
So
see.
like the hazard, like the auxiliary gear select, we have a responsibility to provide an auxiliary, you know, internal door release mechanism.
Okay, so this is a mechanical release.
Correct.
Like it will work even if the power is gone on the car.
Absolutely.
Okay. That is gonna, that's one of the things people kind of worried about, and that'll put that issue to rest.
It's one of the things that was, first and foremost on the list from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is, I guess, how close is this UI to what we're gonna get, you think? Because the UI is probably the thing that you can kind of change up until the last moment.
This is a good representation. I would say it's, percentage wise, like 75% there.
Okay. All right. I mean, I really like the look of it personally. It looks
Thank you.
really,
We've got an amazing team,
yeah,
and
it looks
we're
nice.
working very closely between all the way from the software and hardware engineers to the
Hmm.
design side, and then
Uh-huh.
where that collaboration goes. It's an amazing process, a very small and focused team with wonderful experience. You may have seen our UI UX video today.
I did not.
I think you would enjoy that.
Okay.
It highlights one of our lead designers on the UI side,
Uh-huh.
especially on the app side. He's coming from some fantastic experience with one of the world's leading hypercar and
Uh-huh.
supercar manufacturers.
Okay.
And then our lead screen designer is coming from this little company that is kind of changed the whole automotive EV world, but we'll just leave it at that.
Sure. I think everyone can guess what that means.
And he's coming from a product that is kind of opposite of what we're doing, but we're so lucky to have his experience from that
Uh-huh.
pushed into this, and again, collaborating with what the software side is and what it requires to program the vehicle controls,
Hmm.
all the way to what is the font, what is the color, what is the value,
Uh-huh.
what is the graphics. Fantastic execution from our team.
Okay. Now, one thing that people mentioned is like the audio, the song control is over on the far lower side, which is kind of a big reach from the driver, and like the TPMS system is pretty prominent here. Seems like it'd be nicer to have this over here and this over here, maybe. Um,
Compared to what would be my question.
just like because people I think are going to be interacting more with the music on in data driving than the TPMS system.
TPMS is only going to be there when you need it.
I
Otherwise,
see.
it's not there.
And so what is in this area when this is not here then?
Good question, but it depends on your drive state.
Okay. Okay.
And the reason I said compared to what is we're not our screen is it's not that small, but it's also not that big, nor is the cockpit environment. So the perception of like, oh, it's all the way over there, I think might be a little bit unrealistic.
Okay.
And by the way, when you visit Carlsbad, I understand you're coming soon. You'll be able to sit in a pretty good representation
Okay.
of this exact design and what we call the interior evaluation module.
Okay.
And you'll be able to see like, oh, okay, that's not that far away.
I gotcha.
Right.
I gotcha. Okay.
So that would be my answer to that. It's like once you experience it, you realize like, okay, that is not that far away.
Gotcha. All right. This thing, many people have said that looks like an Apple CarPlay icon.
Okay.
True? Not true?
That's true.
Oh, okay. So Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
We're working on both.
Okay. Awesome. I think that'll make a lot of people happy because we're like, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, we can't exclude, but we have to be very, cognizant of what the landscape looks like. And again, I'm going to defer to my UI UX team and their expertise and experience. And like, here's the best way to accommodate this.
Okay.
And we're kind of, I will say this, philosophically, design philosophy and theme wise, we're kind of at a point where we're able to, instead of adding as many things as possible just because we can, we want to carefully curate what's really important and make that extremely solid, robust, and foundational in order to build on that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things you can do, but we're kind of at that, especially in UI UX, watching the industry, vehicle controls, we're kind of at a point where we have to look at what's next and not just continue to give more information.
Yeah.
But really study what information is really used, how it's used, what's important for the majority, and then figure out how to satisfy some of the what we call like edge cases.
Okay, right. This may be something that you guys don't yet or can't tell us. Like, how is this going to be like customizable, or is it pretty set on how is a layout customizable? I noticed like there's it identifies who the driver is.
Right.
And my guess is it identifies the driver to customize certain things for each driver, or is it just nice to know for the car to know who you are?
Pardon me.
Oh, no problem.
It's a little bit of both. I wasn't choking on the answer. I was joking. Again, it's the Santa Anas and everything. It's a little bit of both, but again, we're going to start with like these things work really, really well.
Okay.
There is a goal and a point where you reach where it's like, okay, this is fully customizable. But I will say that we are using a system that we've been, testing out that is an evolution of what, let's say, the industry is using. And by the industry, I mean the UI, UX, and vehicle controls, whether they be, automotive or other things. And we're aiming towards that kind of full customization, but in the same manner of what's responsible for the production of this vehicle. There's going to be a very solid, strong initial system that won't be customizable until the right moment when the robustness is ensured.
Okay, got it. All right, so this is the
That's
thing.
A long answer of saying no, it's not customizable, but maybe yes someday.
Okay, got it. I think we gathered that.
Yeah.
this icon right here, I wasn't sure what this was. Everyone's like, that's obviously a camera icon. And I'm like, what camera are we talking about if it is a camera icon?
I'm not going to answer that
Okay, got
this
it.
time. Yep.
No problem.
Right.
All
But
right.
you can see, we put a lot of effort. We didn't start with like, hey, let's just, do this basic layout.
Okay.
Right. We've gone through an amazing design process that was brought to us, not only by our experience and our intuition, but by the people we brought in to, help lay it out.
Uh-huh.
And we've got, you can see control, settings, safety, about.
Mm-hmm.
We think, we're testing this weekly on in both in VR
Uh-huh.
and on vehicle controls.
Uh-huh.
Eventually, we'll be able to go from an actual tablet control in a vehicle, and then
Uh-huh.
eventually it'll just be, well, we're actually starting the bench test where we have all the vehicle controls set up on a bench test in order to do all the things that you need to do on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
This is the great period where this is a nice video, but it doesn't show you what we're really doing, which is the physical stuff that we're doing.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now the big, oh my goodness. It's another one.
More ads.
I know, but we're gonna skip it. Okay, so this is the big reveal here. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so my first question is, how long ago did you guys have this?
It's been several months, and this was one of the options that we, looked at.
Mhm.
Because you have to start from the need,
Mhm.
and also, how do you achieve the simplicity for the user
Mhm.
on the need side, but also how do you make it robust and manufacturable, and from the strength and all of that. So working with actually ETP on this one,
Mhm.
we tasked them with, okay, it needs to be mounted in such a way, it needs to be, these are the vibrations that need to be controlled for, the strength requirements.
Mhm.
And we've gone through several, like, remove the whole thing, remove half of it, remove just a tiny part of it.
Mhm.
Do you put the burden on the user to what we call clock the wheel in order to
Mhm.
access the valve stem? So
Right.
you have the user side, which says I need to put air in. Then you have the service side, which says I need to service, the wheels and tires. I need to service the brakes or the motor.
Mhm.
And in the end, this kind of all came together with the inside is fixed,
Mhm.
the outside is movable,
Okay.
and it's a single pivot and a
Uh-huh.
single latch.
Okay.
And then there's guides in order for it to return to its proper space. The
Mhm.
outside you can think of as being very light. The inside you can think of as being very strong.
Okay.
So almost like three sides makes up the strength. This kind of hits all the boxes, because if you try and remove the whole thing, you put the burden on the user. Like, where do you put it? It's heavy. Thing's about a meter long.
Mhm.
You got to lift that thing off. Not that
Yep.
it's that heavy, but it just becomes awkward.
Yes. So
So
I guess when I saw it, it looks super cool. It's very nice. And obviously
that's
it
that's
makes it,
an unintended result.
yeah, I mean, like that picture where you have like the things open, the doors open, the hatches open, kind of gives off like supercar vibes to me. Um and it
This is a
looks
super vehicle.
it looks very nice, and it's very elegant. And I think I and probably many other people assumed that we were going to take off the whole, unbolt like 3 or 4 bolts and take off the whole thing, set it to the side, work on the thing, put the thing
To
back
be
on, put the bolts
fair,
back on.
to be very fair, no one guessed this.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no one guessed this, I don't think.
But
Um,
this is the beauty and the result of the real good engineering and design process, where you try a bunch of things, you kind of mechanically, you go through the kinematics. We
mhm,
had small openings, we had half openings, we had, kind of removing in a certain direction, removing in another direction, I'm meaning up or out.
mhm,
And then you kind of arrive at, what about this? And you realize, like, that's the answer.
mhm.
And it just hit everything.
So yeah, my you probably seen what my thoughts about it are is like, did this add a bunch of weight and complexity to the thing?
Surprisingly, no. The weight actually went down because we were able to change some of the materials.
Okay.
And the complexity, you have, again, single pivot, single latch. The latch is not exotic. It's actually an off the shelf,
Hmm.
latch mechanism. So
Hmm.
that's, a commodity that you can integrate into it.
Hmm.
The only challenges it presents is a little bit of, um, choosing the engineering side, like what is the diameter of the pivot and what is
Hmm.
the material.
Hmm.
But this is not something, it's not like a door where you might open that door or cycle that door a dozen times a day.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is
There's
going to be a couple of
very,
times a year.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had to fill my tires recently
Hmm.
because I got the warning, but uh, I could ask you, when was the last time you put air in your tires?
Yesterday, because I ran over a screw. So
So yesterday, me too. So,
yeah,
okay.
but that happens once every couple of years.
No, but when you need it, you need it. But this is not just for the air. This is also allows serviceability for the lamp if you
Hmm.
need,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
it also allows serviceability for brakes. It also allows, we have all the jacking points
Hmm.
underneath the vehicle. So
Where
if
are they? That's what people are asking.
there, I'm not sure if I thought we discussed it. I don't know if we've revealed it, but
Okay. It hasn't
they're
been revealed.
okay. There
Uh,
are 6 jacking points, I think,
okay.
to allow to jack up the rear of the vehicle or the left or right
Uh-huh.
to exactly change a flat
Uh-huh.
tire or wheel or service in that manner.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when everyone saw it, they're like, wow, that's really cool. And that's gonna work out great because once it's open, it just looks like a regular tire access that everyone is used to. I think, we were worried about the weight, the complexity, the cost of the thing, and probably like if anything is going to get damaged on an Aptera, this would probably be the most likely to be damaged piece, right? It kind of hangs out there. You're going to hit curbs with it, maybe. Um, like, so we were thinking like this is the piece that needs to be fairly inexpensive and easy to replace. And did we just make it a lot more expensive and a lot harder to replace?
Fair observation, but no, we didn't.
Okay.
And the pieces that you're highlighting right there, that is that's a low cost kind of rubber,
Uh-huh.
um, um, rubber foam material,
Hmm.
right? And then
This thing, yeah.
again, the outer piece
This
is
piece.
is plastic.
Okay. So like, yeah, I can see, so like in a way, it might actually be better because the part that's most likely to get damaged is this outer part, like kind of rubbing against a curb or something like that. And so now instead of replacing the entire wheel pants, you just can replace this part, which is probably fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. And because I saw all this like internal bracing and things like this, and I guess you would need some kind of internal bracing anyway to keep the rigidity of the thing from bouncing around when it
Yeah.
moves. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, people when they saw this were like, that's perfect. That's great. Like, didn't expect that,
We,
but that works really well.
right. And that's one of those things we spent a lot of time with various solutions. And even though this one seems a little bit whimsical,
Mhm.
um, it actually it hits all the requirements much more elegantly than all of the other things that we went through.
Mhm. And obviously, the engineers thought about the vibration and how much like stress it's going to take because the thing's going to
That's
move
what you
every
start
time.
with.
Yeah, because every time the tire hits something, the whole thing moves because it's on the suspension, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Which, that's why the lamps on the front of the wheel pants, they're much smaller because, they're auxiliary. We need to demarc them. We need to have reflex on them. But, if we overburden the wheel pants, it just becomes too much,
Hmm.
right? So we want to keep it a little bit more modest and achievable because those things are active. We've heard lots of suggestions about, oh, you should put, lamps on there or Corning lamps, but
Mhm.
those things are bouncing around, and you're going to be you're you're going to be annoyed watching dancing lights, and you're going to annoy other people with such dancing lights. But we
Mhm.
we talked about that before, as why we're doing the headlamp on the body.
Right, right,
So
exactly. Okay, and then of course this is the picture that I think like gives off some supercar vibes, and it looks, yeah, it looks cool. Um, but I don't think I said anything about this part. Nothing new. Anything that you want to comment about this?
no, I think we're still scoring your review.
Okay, all right. I think that was all I had, right? You remember anything else? I think that's all I had. Yeah.
No, and it was good, and I appreciate your recent series of videos, kind of diving into some of the more the aspects of everything that we're trying to achieve. And again, like, it's been a while, so this is a good chance, and I'm glad we're able to review your review,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right?
Yep. Now, did
So
you have some pictures or something to show us?
I do not, but I may share some to you that you can maybe put into this. But I did talk about we talked about the air in video. Um, I did touch a lot about the process, right?
Hmm.
And I really want to emphasize, like, especially with this video, and we always used to mix, like, this is our design data and this is our engineering data.
Hmm.
But now we have much more of the engineering data is driving our animations. Um,
Okay.
we're working on Air in Part 2,
Okay. All right. There'll be more things revealed.
more revealed, and we're not adding these things. It's the right time to reveal them. We're enough in the process. We're enough, locked down on production specs and and
Mhm.
and things, goals and targets, that now's the time to tell those stories. Like, we've never not thought of how to, you know, wash the windshield, or add the fluid, or add air to the tires.
Mhm.
And knowing that air in video would, yeah, we showed the front, but the first question, and I had this with Chris McCammon. I said, you watch how quickly people say, well, what about the third wheel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's normal. We have that answer.
Uh-huh.
It's not an added feature. It's just, now is the time to share it. And that's coming in Aaron 2 video,
Okay. All right.
or
Okay.
animation.
All right.
Then
Uh,
other features might be, we'll highlight a couple more on the interior,
mhm.
as it relates to the cargo, as it relates to the third, the center wheel skirt, as it relates to the storage area that you pointed out, like what's underneath this phone area.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then we still have a few things that we need to, as we work with the suppliers, like finalize the design, and the steering yoke is one of them,
Okay.
right?
Now, this is a question that people ask. There was like a black piece of luggage in the back. Was that anything, or just that was just something put in the
Oh,
render?
you called it. It was a black piece of luggage.
Okay. Okay, that's all it is.
It
It's
was
not.
just a piece of luggage to show
Okay.
that, rather than showing an empty, because that's where you put your gear in, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's cargo or gear, you put your
Uh-huh.
stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be groceries. Oh, in the next video, we'll show how the tie downs are.
Okay.
They've evolved a little bit. You can buy a tie down that's heavy,
Uh-huh.
or you can buy a tie down that's lighter,
Okay.
and you want it in the right place. But we have to think about what the cargo bunk lid, how that behaves,
Okay.
and what the possibilities of, like, uh you know grocery netting,
Hmm.
cargo netting,
Hmm.
pet barrier, all these things.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, so any news from your last trip to Italy that you can tell us? Like, has CPC made that tub yet? Because remember, last time I talked to Chris Anthony, which was just a week or two ago, he was saying they were finishing up the tooling for it still, and the tooling had to be done at another facility because the
Yeah.
thing is so big that CPC did not have it. But CPC is going to press out the pieces.
Yes, the last piece that I saw was not the tub, but it was a piece that is essentially the second to last piece, if you consider the tub the last,
Hmm.
because it's the largest, and it comprises of kind of the nose ring,
Hmm.
which includes the cowl and the A-pillars and the header.
Hmm.
Um, and that piece, when I was there, I saw all the other pieces.
Hmm.
They're all arrayed and ready to go in a kind of facility that will then become, how should I say? I saw kind of the model assembly area.
Okay.
And the beauty of our process is it's not that big. You're not walking a vast line of assembly where you need all this space to do all this, put this whole vehicle together.
Hmm.
It's actually quite small, which speaks to our efficiency model,
Hmm.
that we've always put forth of like we just don't need that much space, even
Hmm.
at rate, right? Even at rate of X per year or X per day or X per month, whatever you want to, you just do not need the space, because once you have the parts and the body goes together and then the closures go on,
Hmm.
it's a very efficient method to put together.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I think the question, the question that a lot of people have is shipping full bodies takes up a lot of space, and you're not going to be able to fit that many in a container. And so, is the shipping cost gonna really increase the price of the vehicle? And I think obviously, if it was like you just got all the pieces and just nested it together, you could fit a lot more. But I understand that like CPC has the expertise on how to do it, put it together right now.
It's not just the expertise on how to put it together, it's how to put it together with a high degree of precision and
Yeah.
quality,
Uh-huh.
right? So we're not delivering something from the start that's like, well, it's a little rough around the edges.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna defer on the answer,
Uh-huh.
some of the specifics of the logistics of shipping.
Yeah.
But I will say that if you think about everything you said and the expertise that they have,
Hmm.
and where Aptera needs to go, like we need to start somewhere and then apply all of the efficiencies that are built in and then enhance those efficiencies. And that includes the methodology of where to assemble
Hmm.
and how to ship,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But I think we've already discussed it would take us a lot longer to what set up
What they already have.
what they already have.
Yeah.
Let's put it that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
gives us a huge advantage. So do you want to wait 3 years or more? Or
Yeah.
should we start again? It's a launch production line.
Right.
They have a very strong understanding of how to put this vehicle together.
Hmm.
It's their methodology. We're capitalizing on that together with them.
Right.
But that is exportable,
Yeah. Right.
not
Yeah.
just the vehicle,
Right. The process and the expertise. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. 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 So that makes total sense.
Yeah. So other than that, you can enjoy the reviewing the UI UX video that we released today. We've got more information on that
Hmm.
coming soon. We're in a kind of um ramping up, right? Right now it's the fall, so fourth quarter, we've got some things coming. And this is a case where, yeah, we're showing the renderings and the animations, but next comes more the physical manifestation, and
Right.
then
That's what everyone's waiting
builds, and
for.
then yeah, and then you'll see when you visit, you'll see, I saw a beautiful piece of not a piece. I saw a beautiful part which contained glass and solar cells and the right layup for a hood.
Hmm.
That's just fantastic.
Hmm.
So that's being made in-house. That's
Right.
our stuff in Carlsbad. And when you see those physical parts, and you having visited the production setup in Modena,
Yeah.
um, it just becomes like I don't worry about any well, that's just a rendering. Like that just goes right past me.
Hmm.
We know what's real. We know
Yeah.
what's rendering, and we're happy to share beautiful renderings from a talented team that's come from solid engineering.
Yeah. 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 But you have the physical things being built
Yeah, on
now.
many fronts. We're testing out all kinds of, bench builds on
Hmm.
stuff. And again, we always have to be much further ahead than you think or than you want,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But this is a long process. It takes time to get it, not to just get it right, but to get it responsible, I'll say.
Hmm.
Right. And once we start building these vehicles, there's a validation process that we're going to go through. There's a flexibility that we have to have,
Hmm.
but we have a nimbleness that, we're not like, okay, locked into the first 100,000 and we can't change anything for 18 months.
Right. Right.
We're
Right.
we're jettisoning all that kind of legacy thinking
Hmm.
in this vehicle assembly, and we've got the perfect partner that can do that.
Okay. Do you have a better idea of like timeline in terms of like when the first production intent physical vehicle, when can we see that, you think? Are we thinking January, February?
Yeah. Do I have?
Yeah, like after, you were in Italy, you saw them and you're like, okay, they finish up the tub at this point. It takes, 3 weeks to ship it over to us, and then we takes us another week or two to put the thing
Right.
together. Well, that'll probably put us in mid, I don't know, January, February, December. I
I
doubt it's.
think you all by now,
Uh-huh.
and you can agree that we will share that as soon as possible,
Okay.
and probably even a little ahead of schedule. Like we won't just wait until like, okay, it's all done,
Uh-huh.
right? It'll
Yeah.
probably be much more involved because all the support that we've been given by the public and by everything that we're doing. It's really extraordinary, and it's very much you know contrary to what you would think of as like, oh, this secretive vehicle company doing this, but
Hmm.
that's just not us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else or
Not tonight. There'll be
okay.
another night.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Jason. We will catch up with you later.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate your insight and also everybody's observations and support. We really appreciate it.
All right. Good night.
Okay, take care.